What's going on, everybody? This is Roaming Prepper. It's been a long day for me today, so I'm going to keep my Saturday SitRep a little bit more abbreviated. But I'll be right back. Let's talk about what's going on in the world, and I'll give you an update on the corgi that that wound up in the veterinary. So give me a few seconds. I'll be right back, and we'll talk about everything. Back, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is a Roaming Prepper channel. I'm your host, Pete, and I thank you all for joining me today. So as you can tell by my voice, it's been a long day. Dogs are fighting out here. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who reached out regarding the corgi. Hey, go to bed. And here comes the Papillon. The corgi Luna. She is in the veterinary hospital as of Friday night. She's going to probably spend the weekend there. She was developing a gastrointestinal issue, a bit of pancreatitis, a bit of a spleen issue. The doc said we caught it early, so there'll be some antibiotics, excuse me. And hopefully, I just chased another dog out. Hopefully she'll be better. Now, she's become the alpha of the pack, so the other three are kind of looking for her right now because she's not here. So it's funny how your pets kind of become part of the family. And I will be doing a series on prepping for pets, including I've already done a video about how to set up yourself for success with your pets. I'll do some videos on traveling with pets, as well as making your own dog food, first aid. I'm gonna need some help because that's not my expertise, so I'm gonna get some other folks to help me. But that'll be a later thing. For right now, we're gonna stick with the topics at hand. So once again, this is a compilation of state, federal media releases that, just to give you guys an idea of what's going on. Take the information as you will. No need to freak out about anything, because there's really nothing we can control directly unless you happen to know somebody and you can call a bigwig. More than likely, this is just more information from you, for you, so that you can make an intelligent decision about where you want to put your time, money, resources, and effort. Right now, the reason I go over the news, the reports, and all this kind of stuff, just to give everyone context, is because you can't make the best decision if you don't have information. You can store all the food you want, but then it's like, oh, store the food, but you didn't prepare for a blackout and the grid goes down. Well, you're screwed now because you can't cook the food, right? You have to have a balanced approach, but having an understanding of what's going on, and it's evolutionary, it's always changing, will keep you in the best position to make the right decisions, spend your limited cash, limited time, limited effort on the right things that'll make the most bang for the buck. I'm tired today, so probably I'm not explaining it well. Hopefully you guys get where I'm going with it. But I'm going to start once again from Africa. I'm going to go alphabetically through the regions of the world. Again, this is the State Department, government, and media outlets, the compilations that I get through the corporate resources. So Africa, right now Ethiopia and Somalia are reporting that Al-Shabaab, which is an offshoot of Al-Qaeda, is trying to set roots and establish locations in Ethiopia. That would be a major problem, because from there they can go to Somalia and they become very disruptive to what is right now the Red Sea area or the Suez Canal. They can become a real pain in the ass to oil supply. We already know oil and natural gas are going to be an issue going forward. In Mali, actually the Mali government commander of the response forces is telling the civilians to flee certain areas. He said, we can't control them. We're waiting for reinforcements from the Congo and other countries. Until then, there's really nothing we can do. You're on your own. And that's an important thing, because if a situation gets so bad that the government responds, the agencies, the entities that many of us rely on, basically say, we can't help you. We don't have the capacity. We're barely holding on to what we have. You're on your own. And that would be a true WROL situation where you just don't have rule of law. It's basically whatever goes. So although will it happen in the West? Highly unlikely. It is always potential. Okay, I'm sure the Romans and the ancient Greeks and during the Renaissance times, they all thought, oh, well, no, we're always going to have whatever entity or whatever agency or organization to support us. And all of them were proven wrong. So these things do happen. So interesting that the well-known Malian commander has urged civilians to flee a part of northern region attacked by Islamic State jihadists in a road mission that security problems are facing locals and they cannot control them. This was reported by Barron's. Nigeria reports something different. With Nigeria, concerns grow as Nigeria's inflation rate surges. Nigeria's consumer inflation surged to 20.5%. That's 20.5 in August. That's massive. Okay. You think we're bad now in single-digit inflation with most stuff, not everything, because there has been some stuff that is almost doubled or tripled, so that's like 50, 100% inflation. But a standing 20% inflation would be epic, and not in a good way. Not like, ooh, epic beers. No, it's like, ooh, epic collapse. This kind of stuff is important for us to know. According to them, they're signaling more hardship for citizens and businesses in Africa's largest economy. You guys remember a few months ago when everything started going sideways, I mentioned Sri Lanka, India. You're going to see those mid-level, not India, I'm sorry, but Sri Lanka, Nigeria now, Argentina, Peru, Brazil. You're going to see those mid-level economies, not the little countries that have always been in the sticks. The mid-level economies that are an important part of the world economy starting to struggle, and we're seeing that now. This is going to continue, guys, so make sure your food, whatever you're shipping, storing, trying to put away, make sure you account for this kind of stuff. So in the Sudan, and this is reported by Radio Dabanga, Sudan has seen new political developments, but also continued deterioration of the socio-economic situation. According to Volker Perthes, a UN special representative, they don't specify, at least in the summary, what the nature of the insecurity is, but more than likely the verbiage, socioeconomic, riots, lack of food, instability, inflation, same story over and over, guys. We're just seeing it spiral. Zambia, lenders urged to cancel Zambia debt as the economy faces collapse. So this is the second country now. I think Greece and now Zambia, and again, you're starting to see not the little countries. Now you're getting bigger countries. The little countries are starting to declare collapse, and the mid-sized are declaring double-digit inflation. This is going to continue happening. So this is why it's important. Hedge, have a little cash, have a little precious metal. Make sure you have the essentials, the ground level essentials, food, a way to power things, meds if you need the meds, important stuff. Going into East Asia and Pacific, Burma just sentenced a journalist to 3 years in prison. Again, you're still seeing the reporters getting thrown in jail. So this is interesting. Russia and China. China's Z urges Russia and other countries to work at preventing color revolutions. Basically, from having foreign powers instigate things. That's an indirect reference to Taiwan and the US, Ukraine and the EU. China and Russia do not like the fact that the Western powers are supplying weapons or encouraging disobedience to them. And it's in our best interest in the West to not have that happen. But it's basically going to continue to be a battle. But to see these two countries collaborate the way they are, Russia and China, that's dangerous for NATO. It's dangerous for the US and Canada. So keep an eye on that. It's going to continue, but it's going to be under the surface. Every now and then a story will pop up. China, however, sanctions Raytheon Boeing CEOs. So now China's doing to us what we did to Russia. They're sanctioning specific people, and they're sanctioning the CEOs of Raytheon and Boeing over a recent major U.S. arms sales. What that means to us is really nothing, because I could give a rat's about the CEOs, but it shows that they're stepping up the rhetoric, and the formalities are escalating. Now, typically, once the formalities escalate to a certain point, then you see hostilities escalate. Mark my words on that one. The formalities go, and then the hostilities start. So we need to be careful on that. So going to Europe. So we already have Ukraine and Russia. Excuse me. Ukraine and Russia are in a pitched war. And each being supported by their respective allies. Now, Greece and Turkey had gotten into a disagreement as well. I put that in another video. But now Armenia and Azerbaijan are having clashes. And Armenia said Friday that at least 135 of its troops died in border clashes with the Azerbaijanis, bringing the total of 200, with the two countries' worst fighting in 2 years. So again, now you're seeing these mid-level and smaller countries, as they go into this desperation mode, they're starting to fight with each other. That's gonna, again, it thinks small, medium, large, right? You're seeing the small countries now declaring bankruptcies, they're declaring formal collapse, they're declaring emergencies, and now they're fighting with each other. Now the mid-level countries are starting to pick fights with each other, and they're starting to declare the double-digit inflation. Then the large countries are fighting single-digit and whatever puffery we have up here. But ultimately, the instability goes from the bottom up, and it's going to start continuing to make its way up. So hopefully I'm wrong, but it has happened before. Remember, before Rome fell, it was seeing insurrections and fighting in all sorts of areas on the outskirts of the empire, and within, a generation, it was in the empire. So Germany seizes control of 3 oil refineries owned by Russian giant Rosneft. So now you're seeing the big countries taking equipment from other countries. So this is going to be interesting. Germany and Russia have a very complicated situation because they don't like each other, going back to World War I or before that. But Germany requires Russian natural gas, but Russia needs to sell it. If Germany gets it from the US of A, that's going to screw Russia's economy. So I'm curious where this is going to go. This is from Business Insider, by the way. Germany said the seizure counteracts the impending threat to the security of the energy supply after Russia slashed natural gas production. Eventually, these economic actions and sanctions will get to a point where someone's going to decide that's an act of war. They've said it unofficially. Hopefully that doesn't become official, because when times like this happen, where things are difficult, food, crops fail, etc., that's when countries start getting angry, they start fighting with each other, and then things spin out of control, just like they did in World War I. EU Parliament declares that Hungary no longer counts as a democracy. So now Hungary, which is very closely affiliated with Russia at some point, in some way, shapes, and forms. This is from Business Insider. Members of the European Parliament voted to recognize Hungary as a hybrid regime of electoral autocracy rather than a democracy or republic. So that's pretty serious. That's not a joke. And again, you're starting to see it in these larger mid-level countries. I keep saying this. It's going from the little countries, the instability is moving up to the bigger countries, and eventually it's going to wind up with the big ones. That's my fear. I hope I'm wrong. I hope sound minds take over. But anyway, from Seattle Times, Ukraine finds new mass burials, says Russia is leaving death. Ukrainian authorities are expected to begin recovering bodies from a newly found mass burial site in a forest recaptured from Russian forces. Unfortunately, with war, especially war between two countries that are very angry with each other, you're going to see atrocities. Pretty much in every war, you'll see some kind of atrocities. The United Kingdom, 2 police officers stabbed near Leicester Square in central London. This is from the Guardian of the UK. Male arrested on suspicion of causing grievous harm and assaulting an emergency worker. We've been seeing it in the States for a while. They're lashing out at authorities. So again, keep your situational awareness. Then Africa, SFGate is from sfgate.com. A bloc of Arab parties is split ahead of Israel's fifth elections in less than 4 years. The move could dilute the minorities' political influence, so they're having some issues internally there. South and Central Asia, India reports collapse structure. That's the Associated Press. Kazakhstan sees Kashagan resuming normal oil output in October at best. Kazakhstan's vast Kashagan oil field, where production sharply declined following an emergency gas release last month, will resume output at usual levels. So again, we're stressing the system. Not a big surprise on that. Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan had gotten in a firefight with each other a few weeks ago. They're now, the leaders have met and they've ordered a ceasefire, and they're now negotiating where the DMZ will be between the countries, which is good. Pakistan is reporting the water from the massive floods is receding. They're now receding from Pakistan's worst. This is ABC News. Worst hit southern Sindh province after deadly summer monsoons, which we were all talking about a few weeks ago. And Western Hemisphere, El Salvador just talks about the current president seeking re-election. Haiti's reporting that gang members have killed 3 police officers. Again, this is happening everywhere. Mexico arrests general. This is in Mexico, AP News. Mexican authorities have arrested a retired general and 3 other members of the army for alleged connection to the disappearance of 43 students in southern Mexico. They were protesting the government's hard-handed response to the cartels, and the students disappeared. So anyway, Nicaragua, the Pope, Vatican seeks to talks on Nicaragua's Catholic crackdown. This is the first time I've heard this in a while. Pope Francis said Thursday that Vatican was in contact with the Nicaraguan government about its crackdown on the Catholic Church. Interesting. I did not expect that, but that was pretty much the Western Hemisphere. I do have post-invasion report on Ukraine, which has been going on. There are travel restrictions to El Salvador. If you happen to be traveling to South America, check statedepartment.gov. Make sure that there are no restrictions or alerts in whatever country you are going to. So guys, I'm going to wrap this one up because I'm dog tired right now. I actually am cleaning a shotgun at the moment. This is the barrel of the over-under. I was teaching some new shooters how to shoot, and yeah, it was good. I'm trying to teach the good people I know how to be competent, even with the most basic of firearms, a shotgun or a bolt-action rifle. So keep your skill sets up, guys. Get your competencies up. And I know saying, "Oh, you're incompetent," sounds rude, but competency means you know how to do things. If you're incompetent, you do not know how to do things. I am incompetent at being a pilot, but you can be competent at being a pilot if you go to school and you train. Same thing with everything else, whether it's food or firearms. So that's my project for today. My over-unders are all in pieces on the table, but that's a video for another time. Anyway, guys, look, this information, take how you will, react accordingly, or don't react. It may not be necessary. A lot of this stuff is happening overseas, but you can get lessons from it. What struck me particularly is the army in Mali, I believe it was, saying, you need to just leave your province because we can't help you. We're protecting this area. We don't have the resources to help you. That can easily happen in an emergency. Whether it's a hurricane, a flood, tornado, or some other kind of collapse, make yourself ready. That should be something in the back of your mind. If nobody can help me, how do I help myself? How do we, as my community or my friends, help each other? So just something to think about. Really good lessons there. Again, I'm reporting this so you can either take action if you need it, or take lessons so you can move forward with something new in your mind as a possible scenario. In any case, that's it for today. You probably will not see me until sometime next week, because I'm going to take a weekend off. It's a lot to report, but I got a lot of things I got to catch up on, so I'm going to take some time this weekend and just get my stuff done. Anyway, God bless, Godspeed. I will see you guys next week. Be good.